Mine definitely does. I feel very short today. I think I set my camera up wrong. All right.
Dean, welcome back to the Dean Cave, otherwise known as underneath your bed.
Okay. So you went out here. You found a bunch of drow attacking some simple merchants, and you defeated them. Mostly quite effortlessly, using some spells and tricking their one spell out of the sky. You asked the merchant what happened, and they don't exactly know. He kind of stammers and is still very confused, but obviously can connect dots that you cast healing magic on him, but like this doesn't happen to regular people. We were just setting up for the night, and they attacked us, but they weren't like bandits. They didn't want what was inside the wagons. I mean, I don't have the best Elvish, but he's human. But they weren't speaking no Elvish I knew.
Did they just... Were they just after blood?
I don't know. They were trying to give me some kind of orders, but I wasn't having any of it, and I also didn't know what they were saying.
Well, I'm sorry we weren't here sooner, I suppose.
He kind of looks at the other body that's face down in the mud, and will kind of ease them up. You saved my life, I think. I don't know if they were out for blood, but they would have killed me and the girls, so... Yeah, no, my thanks.
We'll help you bury the body.
I would appreciate that.
Before that, there still is that dog. It's over there. It's currently rather enchanted by my song. Does anyone want to give it a coup de grace?
It's very injured.
Could maybe be trained as a guard dog for you lot.
This will, my song will wear off in another couple of minutes. It was viciously attacking us.
We don't have the time.
While I am hesitant to slit the throat of an animal that is looking at me with such adoring eyes, it is likely to attack us the second it wears off. Well, if no one else will do it, she pulls out a dagger out of somewhere and floats back over.
Indira looks away.
Slits its throat.
And dog dies. And not too many moments afterwards starts to turn to a glittery dust that kind of melts away into the ground.
Blink dog. So, we saved your life. You are a trader, no?
I'm very thankful. Yeah.
Wow, you're really going to sass me like that.
Be no offense, sir. This kind of thing doesn't happen to people like me.
Well, it has.
Yeah, it has.
You
Indira
clearly,
starts digging.
Yeah.
you clearly feel comfortable enough traveling in this area. You saved money on bodyguards, mercenaries. Perhaps you could at least share enough for a meal for us?
Yeah, we could... We don't have much coin, but we have some food. Yeah, don't we?
A warm meal would be nice.
They go through their rations and find fairly fresh food. Looking at their wagons, I mean, they're literally like they're wagons. They're not carriages or anything like that. It's like the kind of stuff you'd buy in a general store, the kind of shops you don't even really shop in very often. Basic lanterns, ropes, sacks of flour and sugar and stuff. Useful stuff, but like not big money makers. But yeah, they will while Indira's digging a grave and burying the body, they will kind of distract themselves by setting up some kind of very basic cooking with what they have, and it would end up being a sort of sausage stew type thing.
I'm an idiot. Indira would mold earth to just
She's
swallow
like digging,
the
and she's
body.
like, wait, what?
Wait a minute, I have a thing to do. Yeah, absolutely.
I always forget that Indira can cast spells.
Spell.
Oh, it's
Misty
just that
Step
one.
also.
Oh yeah.
Misty
I always
Step.
forget Misty Step isn't really super a spell for you, but yeah, I get it.
So many things have it as like a magic-like ability.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys can. I mean, do you want to? There's a bunch of drow bodies. Like they're trying to set up all this food, but one of them will try and drag the bodies aside.
Check the bodies. I'm gonna strip, check, and potentially burn.
I'm particularly going to look at the spellcaster, just out of curiosity.
I mean, first of all, these are definitely drow. I mean, I know I've been saying it, but there's no doubt when you're up close and personal to them. Black skin, silver hair, and not the same sort of way that Indira is. Indira's skin is almost stony and kind of has a sheen to it. This is just like skin, but sort of blacks, greys, sometimes a deep blue or purple. Just like our skin tone, it changes wildly depending on everything. Equipment-wise, they all have quite good quality short swords. While they do seem similar to what other elves would make, there's definitely a little bit more viciousness to them. Is the best way to describe them. They also have hand crossbows, each of them. Very tiny, well-maintained, well-made hand crossbows where you can barely see the mechanisms, and a good collection of crossbow bolts and some poisons. Drow poison on each of them. They're wearing chain armor that's very light, and attached to their helmets are visors, but it's not like sunglasses or anything like that. Straight up, it's like a metal shield for their eyes that swoops up. Like, if it was down, you wouldn't be able to see at all. Which is why one or two of them tried to flip them down to not get attacked by Gilwyn, but of course it still hit them. Very strange. Other than that, that would be all you'd really find. The spellcaster has a wand, but it doesn't seem to have any magic power to it. It's just kind of how she was casting these spells. And the robes, not magical. A couple of rings, but not of magical means.
Serena's very much not the type to look particularly closely either. It was just more she went up to it, maybe
Patted
flipped
the
it,
pockets, yeah.
sort of turns her nose up at it.
There would be gold. Now, that's a very valid point. There absolutely would be gold. A valid point no one made but me. On her would be 80 gold.
I mean, would that actually like be really obvious? Because I think Serena would just literally give a glance.
The coin most people's coin purses are just like you keep your wallet, fairly easy to reach.
Yeah,
So
then
you-
okay,
so
she would
you
reach down and pick that up.
You wouldn't notice that these are drow coins, but that doesn't matter to you or most people.
Yeah, so she picks up the coin pouch and just moves back towards the fire and just basically throws it to Vale or Gil, whichever one happens to be nearest.
Between them.
Yeah, probably.
Directly.
Great.
Fight for yourselves.
These hand crossbows.
Mhm.
Can I take? I presume they have bolts on them.
Yeah.
Could I take a cup? Let me.
You can
I'm gonna take.
one or two hand crossbows, and let's say for complete ease sake, there's 18 bolts all around. I didn't actually have many bolts to fire.
That's fine. 18 is fine, and I will also take two of the crossbows. They're just hand crossbows, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just regular hand crossbows from the book, but of course they're rare.
Yep.
For most people. It's the kind of thing, as a pirate, you would have definitely seen them before, but they would, like your pistol, it's a
lot
fucking
clunkier.
selling point.
Yeah.
A more
And
civilized weapon.
he straps that into the strap on his chest that used to hold the fire powder pistol.
What is nice about it is an elven constructed thing, so it is pretty looking. the sort of spokes of it are very swooping and have these swirling designs, and they're not even overtly super spidery, where a lot of the armors have spidery patterns on them and some such.
Well, it's okay as long as I murder them with it, right?
Yeah, this with the thing doesn't. The crossbow. It's not a gun.
Oh, I think pile the remaining bodies and burn them.
Or just put them in a pit with Indira's
No,
magic.
burn them. Burn them. No, yeah, put them in a pit because that's more disrespectful.
It is.
Bury them.
With the person.
No,
they
a
murdered
different
now?
pit. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do
No,
mold
we're not
earth.
mass graving that poor dude.
You can do mold earth at will. So you can make another pit.
You can
Wait,
make a
really?
pit.
I can do mold earth at will?
It's a cantrip. You can do it whenever, wherever.
I've been doing it once per rest.
No. I mean, you're not a
There have
spellcaster,
been
so why would
many
you even
times
think
I
about it?
thought, okay. But Misty Step is once per rest,
Misty
right?
Step is once per rest, because that's not a cantrip. Cantrips are
Okay.
spells so simple, you do them effortlessly, and in your case, it's just something you can just do, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can make a burial pit to just throw the bodies in after Vale has taken anything of interest from them.
After he asks me to, I'm going to be like, are you going to piss on him too?
No.
And she like pushes a hand down and you see the earth like depress. Shove him in.
Like you want to like bury these guys with a gravestone after they just murdered some innocents, you know. You do know what these people are.
I get it. It's just literally beating a dead horse.
I mean, I could just leave them there to rot and be eaten by animals.
She just starts kicking one in.
Oh, okay, fine.
I take it these are those usurpers that the elves are so afraid of, then?
He turns to Gilwyn. I was right. It's not like he blatantly ignores you. He looks at you when you say that, and then clearly following on from that logically, he says straight to Gilwyn, I was right. It's the bloody drow. Of course. Yes, it is the usurpers. So, just anyone able to produce daylight? Sunlight?
It's the
Seems
very
kind of
end-
like your thing.
It is the
Yes.
very antithesis of my magic.
My magical power, what small though it may be, comes from the sun. I cannot use it when the sun is not up. I simply cannot generate the power of the sun. That would be a bit... It's just a thought. What might be quite useful.
I have a maybe really bad idea, Vale.
What?
I mean, look at me and then look at them.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Side by side,
Nope.
you don't really look alike. It's you can understand why. The thing is,
But dressed in their full gear.
dressed
with
in their full
eyes,
gear
yes.
at a glance. Yeah, exactly. First in full gear, that it would be. But like, you can understand why the wood elves thought you were one, but they've probably never seen one before. Based off a description, you fit the description. But side by side,
Indira's acting on this because the one looked at her and hesitated. before attack.
exactly. Like, no, you're totally right. I just wanted to put that out in the open. That
It would require more than just...
yeah, but you know,
I'm
in
just
their gear
saying-
with their equipment.
Perhaps it would be easy for me to infiltrate next time we find a large group. Or alternatively, we could keep one alive.
I'm not... I suppose keeping one alive may work. I'm not sure exactly what... What blending in with them would achieve?
Finding where
Can you
they're
understand
based.
them?
No. But in a large group, not a lot of chance that I'm going to be singled out and spoken to.
Unless they give orders and you do not follow them.
I just do what the people around me do.
It's an idea that is not worth dismissing, but it does place you at a lot of risk.
It is something to consider if the need arises. We have no idea the circumstances here. There may be no need to gather more information.
Well, don't know how much of that I can soak up, but location. So we try keeping one alive next time we encounter a group then.
Let us hope we do not encounter more. If they are this far south already, then they are quite widespread.
Well, they live in like hives, right? Underground?
I do not know. They live underground.
Caves? What? I mean,
I do
sunlight
not
hurts
know.
them, right?
Yes, presumably they do not like bright light. This I have read.
So it stands to reason that they would live underground.
Yes, we know they live underground. I do not know where. I do
And
not
that's
know.
why we keep one alive. Or I infiltrate.
I am not going into a drow city. No way.
10 episodes later.
I cannot believe I'm in a trance. So, Vale on a scale of to shit.
Oh, shit.
Hmm.
I don't like this at all. You know, and I called it. What a bitch my god is, right? I mean, the golden eagle, he could have just been like, hey dude, there's drow. But no, go to the 3 rings on the map.
You're not even there yet.
So, I would suggest we stop off at Thundral. Perhaps we could pick up something that is capable of generating light.
Well,
Significantly bright light.
who's going to pay for that?
Indira kicks the gold pouch on the ground.
How much
That's
is in
not-
it?
80 gold.
80.
That's not going to pay for something that generates the power of a sun.
Maybe, I would just have to borrow it for a little while.
I think it
For
makes
the
sense.
greater good.
For once, Vale, I agree with your
Yes.
desire to steal.
And maybe I could steal something else.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Yep.
One and done.
You rest up for the night here.
Indira would slide up next to him and be like, health potions. We could borrow some health potions.
Right. Yeah. Good idea.
She like playfully nudges with her elbow and then goes to sit back down.
He looks confused when like you nudge him a few times more. He's like, "Are we? What's? Oh right. Okay. Yep."
You rest for the night. Wake up in the morning. The traders, would say their goodbyes and go down the road, and you do the same in the other direction. And you can keep going up the road.
Fuck. I forgot to say before we depart from them, I give them 4 gold, 1 silver, 7 electrum, and 8 copper.
Are you trying to even out your pockets?
Yes.
He like looks at the Electrum coin like, what even is
What
it?
even is this? Who gave me this? Where the fuck do you find an Electrum?
Forak.
No.
Forak.
Yeah, Forak started with some just to be a
Of
real,
course, Forak.
just to be a real fucking fourth wall breaker. Who would do such a thing?
Indira would ask for a rope in exchange for that money.
They will happily just give you one of the ropes.
How many feet?
50 feet. The standard rope should be 50 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
50 feet of rope.
Hempen rope.
50 feet
It's
left.
hempen.
Level 3. You continue down the King's Road for a little longer. It's mostly quiet. Again, other traders. But you don't hear more screaming, more attacks, more drow. Eventually, on a particularly sunny morning, without morning mists or rains, you can see something stretching off in the horizon. I think it's a little strange for people who aren't veiled to understand, because Thunderol is a city of flying islands. What you see first on the horizon is not the city itself, but the islands that fly above it, coated in castles and forests and areas where elves live and work and play. Coming over a hill, you see the city of Thunderol from afar. Sitting below these flying islands is an elven city, much more dense than Aradia. The buildings are unmistakably elven. If you were asked to describe an elven building, it would be these ones with the ways the roofs arch and the painted designs on the side. The city's kind of built around a river bisects it almost through the middle, but not quite, with strong castle walls all around, although the city kind of has expanded a little bit to some degrees, and there's vineyards that you currently travel down to see it. And somehow, despite the fact that there are large floating islands above it, which is in its own insane, sure, Vale has been describing it for years, but seeing it is definitely magical. But the city below doesn't seem to be shrouded in darkness as you might expect. As you get closer, you can see chariots helmed mostly by Pegasi, going to and fro off the flying islands, some of them very close to the main city on the base level, with similar sort of buildings. As they get higher and higher to the place where you can barely see them, all you see really is the glints of sunlight off very majestic buildings very high up, which Vale would describe as High Thunderol. You could barely see as mere mortals on the ground. Like other cities, when you approach the city gate, there are taverns and some stores and shops on the outside. When you approach the city gate, the Guard of Thunderol are come up. Now, it does seem like a pretty... I mean, Aradia never had anything like this, although maybe they had guards in wait, in hiding. But this does also seem to be a fairly relaxed guard force, because you're coming from Aradia. The chances of you being a hazard are fairly low in their books, but still, fortified castles, they have people with bows up on the higher levels. The guards who come up wearing high elven armor, which is almost a little Templarish. If you imagine what typical elves wear in fantasy and put a little Templar design on top of it, that's kind of how the high elves dress with their weaponry and equipment. Usually sword and shield. They'll come up to the cart, ask your business, ask your names. What would you say?
My name is Erevel Valenair, and I am returning to High Thunderol.
It's one of those things where the elf is kind of looking at the cart when he walks up to you and looks to you, and his eyes do widen slightly. A high elf, and he nods and gives a bow. Like, yes, yes, very well. Please, welcome back to the city. Open the gates. And it's one of those things where the gate has multiple doors that can open. You open one of the larger ones for the cart to roll through, and you're in the city of Thunderol. The city streets are tighter of those of Aradia, but not as tight as Goldport or even Tran. The main streets have merchant stalls along the sides that are selling all sorts of things. It's a little touristy. What you might expect a high elven city to be very haughty and up itself. It is, but in a way they can kind of project, and that other races can come and visit. It's a very...
Not haughty, it's exclusive.
Yes. Whereas Vale can tell you that, you know, away from the main thoroughfare through the city, it is a lot more how you might expect. This is not the real Tundra. This is the tourist experience of taverns and drinking halls and things like that. What's the plan?
Yeah, Bill.
Welcome to Thundra, everyone.
Beautiful.
Wow, I think that was the easiest entrance we've ever had to any city ever.
Yes, that was a reaction appropriate for nobility or royalty.
The High Elves are, for lack of a better word, the children or child race of the Sun Elves. They are from us, and we watched over them in their younger days, and so they pay us proper respect. At least that's what we are taught.
Well, maybe they will give you something that emits light.
Yes, I did consider something like that may exist up above, but I am not sure.
What?
Whether going there is a good thing. I have been away a long time now, and I have not exactly made a good reputation for myself amongst the other Sun Elves. They must have heard some rumors here and there about another Sun Elf out on the seas. They would be quite annoyed. In fact, I should suspect if there were more of us, I would be headed for my head on a block.
Right, so I distract and you borrow.
He looks up. It is not so easy to steal from High Thunduro.
You pursue a quest to save your race. Surely they would not let your past get in the way of that. You had a message from your god.
It depends on if they would believe me. No one has seen Verentho in a long time. No one has heard from Ormanator or Lathander as well. Why would they believe that our silent god has chosen to speak to an outcast, a pirate, who turned away from the righteous path? You see how that doesn't really sound, at least to those who fervently believe. It's either something they do not want to believe or would not believe.
Then they are fools, but there is perhaps other recourse. If that attack by the drow was not alone, then perhaps they already know of happenings in your forest that might help convince them of it, or at least of your intent, if nothing else.
The hand crossbows I took, they're clearly elven, but clearly not any wood elven or high elven, are they?
It's hot. An expert would say yes. Regular people probably would be able to tell that it isn't the difference between wood elven, high elven, and drowcraft.
Yeah.
When it's not being spelled out quite obviously. But it's funny you say that. There's an area of the city you kind of pass around on the main road. It's the newest part of the city on the ground, so the main road kind of goes around it because it's kind of built to the side. Called South River, which has focus on the arts and crafts. So you'd be able to find people who would be able to tell here as well as the Hall of Glass, which is a museum dedicated to music and songs and artwork for your bard in the party.
We could potentially get an expert to
Corroborate.
Well, we don't have to get them to corroborate. You know, it's true, right? We don't have to take a knife and be like, hey, assess the item.
Yeah, thus corroborating your story. If you talk to these people up above and say, look, we have proof.
Right. But I'm not doing it at knife point. That is what it means, right? You corroborate someone. It's a verb
No.
of doing. No?
No. It is a verb, but it ain't that.
Oh, okay.
It just means to validate a story.
Okay. Right. So I am corroborating your stories, yes?
I guess.
Okay, got it, I'm good. Yes, let us go and find someone to corroborate our story.
Yes. If you show somebody in the city who can identify that as Drowcraft,
But
or,
on the
or
other
at least
what if we go up there and they say, okay, but then they put me in there or put me in silent prayers for
do they
6
have
years?
like legal reason to put you in jail?
I mean,
I don't like that.
I was due to take my oaths. I may.
If they put you in jail, we break you out.
Like checking your nails, very calm.
Oh, fine then. Fine. I would like to take Gilwyn to High Central, and I suppose at some point this will have to happen. Why not turn up with a piece of Drowcraft? Why not? It might soften the blow.
Seems
Or
like perhaps I shouldn't be there when we.
No. You should come.
The more interesting and strange we look, the better. That's what I think, anyway.
I just don't really like the idea of being put in jail either. Well,
It's probably
look at me.
really nice jail, you know. I've never been there. I've never seen it, but I bet they treat people like kind of well. Probably have to wear a prayer shawl though.
Let's get this crossbow looked at first.
Why don't one of you give me an investigation roll to look for an artisan in the city to look for? You've got it nailed down to a district, so.
My investigation ain't so good, chips.
And one of you with advantage because the whole party is helping essentially.
Is where an inspiration might be useful as well. Hint, hint, Mr. Bard.
I was going to say,
Wow,
let's
such
go
a
Serena.
renegade.
Okay, so I will inspire Serena and go look with her.
We'll all go look.
Okay.
Yeah, you're all together in the cart, and one of you is.
I mean, I have a
Looks like a
+1
drow.
investigation. I'm happy
yeah,
to look.
Indira is very scared right now that she's going to be mistaken for.
Okay. I will-
her.
You had advantage.
Oh.
So
Come
everyone's
on.
helping.
Come on.
Come on then.
Oh no.
Got
That's what you
worse.
get. That's what you get.
Why didn't you
You
inspire
travel
yourself?
Do a luck.
Okay.
You don't have to.
He's like ordering Dean how to play his character.
Joke is, it was like a DC 12 check.
I liked do a luck though. That makes me happy.
I enjoyed that too.
You look around. You take the cart into the South River district and look around. The buildings are these crafting halls that are old, but not as old as the rest of the city. There are some open air areas, where someone will be sort of showing off making swords, blowing glass, and things like that. But you're looking particularly with someone who would know the difference between these types of craft. You actually don't even want someone who's a specialist in weapon. You basically want a kind of maybe antique dealer or relic collector who would know these kinds of things.
A fucking nerd.
A fucking
We're gonna walk in. It's gonna be some sleazy elven Ollie. Hello, gentlemen.
That's
How
not
can
what
I
sound
help
like.
you today?
That's not me at all.
What you've
I
got
thought it
there
was pretty good.
is a 7th century drow crossbow.
Straight glass. Can kill an ox at 60 feet. How much?
I like the idea of the drow fighting ox, for one.
It's like the best hunt that you can bring back. You don't get ox down in the Underdark.
That's true. You know what? That's true. You end up finding someone, you go and ask some questions of like, oh, who might know the difference between, like wood elven and high elven craft? Well, you don't obviously give away your game, and you get sent to exactly that. A nerdy collector who does buy and sell some things. They own an antique shop, but it's an elven city. Any shop is an antique shop, but they're definitely more someone who's interested in the stories. You come into his establishment, which is actually quite large, very open-aired. There's not many other people in here, so you can mostly just find him. He's a high elf with the kind of high cheekbones that high elves often have, a kind of yellowish, glossy skin. He's reading a newspaper, in fact, with one hand. He's got it kind of folded, and his clothes are open at the arms. There's actually these tattoos of thorns in sort of gold that go around his arms. He would of course notice you come in because there's a little bell on the door, but doesn't approach you until you walk and look around at old grandfather clock and a statue of Fey prayer and things like that. But also swords and those sorts of equipment. Definitely one of those shops where if you spent time looking around, you'd probably find something really interesting and magical. But he will sort of turn to you just before you're about to speak, and will give you a very short bow and then a big smile. Hello, my friends. You seem like you've come from quite a long way. Do you have something that you want me to look at? My name is Win.
Vale.
Gilvale.
That would do. I have a piece that I wanted you to look at, actually.
Well, that sounds excellent. One moment. Would you put it on the table there and kind of... There's a little bit of some sort of contraptions here that kind of move magnifying glasses and lenses in a way. He takes out
They're
some
called
more
his
as well.
arms.
No, he basically pulls a lever that kind of moves this apparatus in place. What is it? You're obviously all adventurers. Adventurers, when they come into a shop like this, they usually have something from a far-off land or with magical portent or something of the sort.
Probably the first is most fitting. He would pop it on the...
Why? A small hand crossbow. You don't see many of these. But they're not really tied to any sort of... Oh, it's drow craft. That's very interesting.
Wow, that was fast. He's good, guys. Did you see that? That was like...
There's a dead giveaway in anything made by drow, unless they're trying to hide it. It's made of dark steel. It's a very different material. Not every single part of it. There's actually some adamantium used to give some structural support to the actual apparatus. Very small amounts, of course. Very, very, very good craftsmanship. It takes a whole factory of hardworking, most likely slaves, to make equipment this high quality, which means it's probably off drow military. Which means you've had some sort of scuffle. This looks brand new, barely fired.
Bell just nods.
Well, then there you would have it. Seems to be a new age drow hand crossbow. Most likely, considering it's drow military, probably from Narashiro itself.
Narashima?
Narashiro is the capital city of the Drow. They're found all over the place in their kingdom, but the most of them are in there. Well, it's like a dark reflection of Thundrol, one would say, I suppose.
Let's hope it's not underneath on there.
No one would say.
Do you have a reputation?
It depends in what way you're meaning.
I mean, as a respected expert on craftsmanship.
Oh, yes. Yes, well, this sort of things, mechanics, deeply interest me. It doesn't sell very well in a city like this, but this sort of fine mechanic craft, I mean, the finest piece of the thing in my collection is actually one of the first era dwarven crossbows, the ones that humans stole in a very, very dramatic heists. In this field. Don't let it get ahead of me, and I don't want to make my head sound too large, but I do know what I'm talking about.
Perhaps you could give us a note or letter?
A certificate of authenticity, yes.
Yes.
I would be able to write that up for you.
How much would it cost?
A little bit of equipment like this, and a stamp of my guild seal. That would be 150 gold pieces.
Great. If you get that written up for us, we will just shuffle around some denominations. I'm sure you don't want any drow coin, and we will get that sorted.
Well, I might actually be interested in that sort of thing. Can sell quite well.
Oh, really? Well, how about we cut a deal? We give you 80 gold coins, drow, and you make a profit later down the line.
80 gold coins drow and 50 gold elven. That way I can cover my costs as well. You would be saving some money. He starts like dipping his quill in some ink.
40.
Persuasion roll. One word persuasion rolls.
He steps forward and goes, 40.
4A.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. I respect your play, and I assume that you've done your kingdomly duty and murdered some usurpers for this. So I will knock it down to 30.
30. Wow, thank you.
Say
very
yes
much.
now, otherwise I might change my mind.
If I may ask, could you please examine this as well, and I'll take off my amulet, on the stone amulet with my mother's symbol on it. Could you please just give me some background on this?
Oh, this will require a little bit more work. I do
No
actually have a... There is a little bit of a cost involved in the identification ritual. I offer it, considering we're friends, let's say 25 gold.
Okay.
And he will sort of actually take out a scroll, which he will read very quietly to himself while holding a hand over it and looking at it through the apparatus. And then we'll...
So I'm going to talk to Dean. You. It was about...
No, you're not, because we're going to end very soon, so we're going to zip through this.
I'm not paying then. I can't sort out how we're paying.
We can do it next.
Okay, cool.
Sorted. He will hand it back to you and will say that this is a protective charm. I will say it's from somewhere far off to me, but it's holy magic to the... I have heard of this faith, the Mother Gira. It's a nature-based faith. Not exactly the way we would worship nature here, but to be respected for sure. It can cast a powerful protective charm on those who carry it. Which means, Gilwyn, you can use it to cast shield once per day.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you very
much. And
much.
with that, as money is blah 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 blah, we'll actually end off here because it's the end of the session. So, why don't we start our circle of shame with my best bud, Neil?
Well, hello, I'm Dean. Damn.
I know there's a dramatic fight for the Ollie top spot.
But I win.
I'm gonna hang out with you this
Just want
weekend,
to warn you guys
and
that,
not Neil.
that when I fight, my tail goes straight up and puffs out, and I look real menacing.
Let's point out that when I fight, my dick goes up straight and puffs out.
I knew that was coming.
It was
As soon as
obvious.
he started talking, I knew that was coming.
When
When
Dean
I fight, I immediately
talks-
shrivel to a teary mess.
like freaking
right.
Sobble.
Let's do this then.
Neil, who are you? Where are you? Do your shit.
Hi, I'm at Naghite. You can find me at Neil. No, I'm Neil. You can find me at Naghite on the Discord or at Naghite _ on Twitter, respectively. I just want to say thank you guys for everyone who is supporting Ollie and Doxy and Dean at the moment. Visit his Patreon and you get more of me, and I'm an even bigger dick in that. Like Nuri is 10. Oh, and minor spoilers, you get to see more of me with a different voice.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new voice debuting.
Yeah, if you want to hear Neil try to do accents, it's that's what you want. Speaking of accents, Gilwin.
Hello. I'm Gilwin. Some call me Dean. My
No.
mum and dad do normally. Despite my various attempts.
And
For them to call me.
Dino.
I'm Dean. If you want to
Little
Google
Dean Bean.
if you want to Google Dean Cutty anywhere, you'll find little old me. If you want to Google Dean Cutsforth, you'll find little old me going 10 times on different songs. They're pretty good. And they're free on Spotify. Dean Cutsforth. Remember the name. And that's me.
Dean Cuddy, that's him. Ian, who are you? How are you?
I am Ian, aka Arvine. I play a puppy murderer in this game now, apparently. That was a sad moment.
Had to be done.
That would have bitten my face off had it half a chance, so I suppose that's fair.
Would it?
I am the resident false pretenses weeb empress, so
That's
at me with
true.
anime, at me with
I
Jarviskjir.
just realized now you're like a literal empress in this game as well. It's like an
Exactly,
ascension.
come on.
I actually had not clocked that yet.
There is a reason that I was like, oh my god, Empress, that's so cool. Yeah, at me on the Discord if you have questions about Yarv or, as I say, anime, anything like that. I'm happy to chat.
He knows his shit. He's not your garden variety weeb. He's an advanced weeb.
That's true.
Final
Now-
evolution weeb.
Let's talk about an advanced cutie. It's Doxy.
Oh, you stop it.
Who are you? How are you? How
I
you
am
doing?
ZER0DOXY on Twitch, on Twitter. However, I am at ZERODOXY because branding is not my strong suit. Fun session today, guys. I don't know what that was.
We've got the end of session delirium in full swing.
I swear to God, this was such a fun session, but there was a part where I almost fell asleep sitting up.
I
'cause I'm
literally
so tired.
gave Doxy the kiss of death.
Well, speaking of the kiss of death, I'm Ollie.
Aw.
If I kiss you, you die. It's a curse I live with.
You know who doesn't? The people you kiss.
You can find me here. This show is on every week at Wednesdays. I also do another Jarviskjir show. It's in the same setting, but in a different part of the world right now. Actually, a different continent, never before explored. That's at Sundays on at midnight GMT. That's the good party, and I now say that with inverted commas because they as soon as I started calling them that, they started being a little bit more suspect.
They started being very D&D.
And there's also, if you support this show on Patreon, because this show is supported by Patreon, for $5 a month on my Patreon, you get to listen to another show that has both Neil and Ian, also in Jarviskjir, Also going on at the same time in another part of the world, in Northenden, the most fleshed out part, because everyone loves Northenden. It's the free city. I am currently doing some changes to how I do things, which will mean there should be more stuff on Patreon for lower tier supporters involving most of the homebrew I make. I'm just trying to sort out how I want to do that, whether I actually do that on my website or just overhaul the stuff I have so far. We'll figure it out. I'm taking things low and slow. Some other times when I am awake, I stream, usually at 9 PM or 8 PM here. I either do art streams or more recently, we just hang out. We just hang out, we have a good time playing some games on the Nintendo Switch. What else could there be? That's what matters. I am, like Neil said, very thankful to all the support and blah, 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 blah. You guys help me do what I like to do for a living, and I get to make cool stuff and have fun with my friends, and what more is life about? We'll see you next week.
And have fun with you guys. Also, I've been fighting this entire stream, guys.
That is disgusting. It's reprehensible.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
We got the fire gunner.